Good morning, everybody. This is Lakshmi Rajaram. I'm here with another guest today to talk about my Women Inspiration mini series. And any guesses looking at this background as to who my guest might be or what background she might have? I am very, very honored to have her on my program today. And this is someone who had medicine on her mind from a very young age. She was born and raised in northern India. She did go on to become a doctor, and she moved to the United States and completed her residency in Michigan, moved to the Twin Cities, and has been working for over 20 years with the healthcare partners. I am honored and privileged to have Rewati Gazula on my show today, talking about women inspiration. And I would love for all of you to meet her. So let's all join to welcome Rewati to the program. Hi, Rewati. How are you doing? Welcome.
Can you hear me good?
Yes, I can hear you now very clearly. I just gave an introductory bio welcoming you to our program. I'm really, really honored to have you here. And I want to jump straight away because I want to know how come medicine? What made you choose medicine as your career?
First of all, I want to thank you for giving me this platform to talk. My instantaneous reaction initially was to just say no, because nothing I'm doing is recognition worthy. And whatever I'm doing is what I chose to do and what I wanted to do and what I was meant to do. But I just said yes because I think it's a great platform. Your initiation is so good. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
And coming back to your question about what made me choose medicine, I think there was an innate desire to be a physician right from the young days. And I was brought up in Andhra in a small coastal village where there was a nurse who used to come to the village, even though kids used to hate her for her big syringes and the vaccination, but all the villagers and the elders would revere her, respect her, wait for her. She was a visiting nurse for many villages. And I saw what kind of power she had. So it was meant to be that I needed such kind of respect and power.
Wow.
This led to one more event in my life where in 1984, my dad had a big burn accident. It was second to third degree burns. Mm-hmm. And that was the time when Indira Gandhi was assassinated. She was the prime minister at that time.
Okay.
Curfew throughout the northern India, something akin to the COVID times where we call it lockdown or shelter in place, but it was curfew back then. And you cannot get out of the house, you cannot travel on the main roads, the national highways. So he and his doctor chose for him to be treated at home with our nurses and doctors visiting him at home. But the daily dressings were to be done by me. So that's when I think I had my first-hand experience with medicine.
Wow, that's the best way to learn. You learned from experience right away, and that has kind of sealed it in you that you had to grow up and become a doctor.
So wanting something and getting something is two different things. I think a little bit of hard work, a little bit of luck, a lot of God's grace landed me here. So I'm thankful for that.
Oh, and we are very, very thankful to have you in our community and be able to share such good information about what's happening in the medical field. So we really appreciate that, Rewati. Tell me something, people all know you as a doctor, at least outwardly. Your inner circle might know more about you personally. But I'd love for you to share what were some of these life transformational experiences in your journey, particularly here in the last 20 plus years that you've lived here, that have kind of shaped you to be who you are? What have you taken away from those experiences?
More than life transformational, I would call them unforgettable. So if I close my eyes, I can relive those moments. There are a few such, but two which come to my mind, I'll share with you. One is year 2000. On August 19th, we were coming back from up north, Duluth, and we were driving in a SUV. My mom was an unseat belted passenger in the passenger seat. We had an accident, rollover accident SUV turned a couple of times. And end of the story is the SUV was on top of my mom. She was pinned underneath the vehicle. There was emergency vehicles and she was airlifted. I wasn't sure she'll make it alive or not, but she was airlifted and she reached the St. Mary Duluth Hospital much before us because we were okay. So we had to go by an ambulance and she was airlifted. And there was this woman who is partially unconscious, non-English speaking, who is going to be given a full neurological exam to make some big decisions. I was not allowed to go in the helicopter with her. And the person who received her on the helipad is Dr. Khan, an Hindi and Urdu speaking gentleman. So,
what are the odds? What are the odds in Duluth in a hospital in 2000 for there to be a doctor who speaks the same language?
Yes, I think there was some supreme power watching over her, watching over us. I was, I think, 6-7 months pregnant with my oldest daughter. Nothing happened to me. My mom came out alive. And that Hindi speaking doctor took care of everything. She was examined thoroughly. She made some decisions and consented for the surgery. So by the time we reached there by ambulance, she was already being taken to the OR. And she's hale and hearty. She's fine. And
bless her heart. That's wonderful to hear. But what, I mean, in hindsight, you know, it still gives me the chills listening to this story. What was your most profound moment from all this? I know being there in that moment, it was probably the most concerning aspect of your life. But kind of when you reflect back on that, what was the key takeaway for you or the learning that you got from that experience or that incident?
So as she was rolling into the OR, me and my husband were like crying. I'm not sure what was there to come, but she was holding our hands and she's like, everything will be fine. So she has this immense positivity. So even in the worst of the worst circumstance, she'll say, it will be fine. Just close your eyes and just think positive. It will become positive. So I think the positivity and gratefulness and thankfulness is what I remember whenever I think about that incident.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that, Revathy. I know talking about positivity and, you know, just spreading joy and spreading wellness. I know you were involved in a healthy wellness challenge in the Twin Cities, maybe a year or two back. I know I took part in it as well. So can you tell us a little bit about what was the purpose or intent behind it? You know, of all the people you started it and why did you choose to do that?
So being a physician means you are a teacher on a day-to-day basis, on an hour-to-hour basis. I'm teaching my patient, I'm teaching my patient's dad, I'm teaching my patient's daughter. So there's a constant teaching. And in my microcosmic groups of my friends or family circles, I'm teaching them the small little things which I think will make them have a healthy lifestyle. And I think 2018 is odd year because there were 3 deaths in Indian community. It was in a person who was 50 years old, 41-year-old, and 43-year-old. And these were all like untimely deaths in young patients, young people actually were not even patients. So it just made me feel that there's something more to do here. And I didn't want to do a 1-hour class. A 1-hour class is like you go in, you enjoy the class. You're like, wow, what a good class, good information. And then you forget the next day. So I wanted to take up a platform where I could drill a message on a day-to-day basis on a small doses. So it just kind of seeps in and you take it inside and you kind of go through a sustaining habit formation rather than yo-yo pattern of do something for a short duration and be back to normal. So a lot of people joined, and I think it was 200 plus members who joined, and many had significant weight loss, and many of them are still in yoga groups. Many of them I run into at Lifetime. Many of them I see them running outside on a sunny day. I can see them still. So it makes me feel very happy that a lot of lessons were taken and they're still pursuing those.
Well, I remember you used to send me at 11 p.m. this meditation checklist. Like, did you do your meditation for the day? And I can tell you that I needed somebody to hold me accountable because I've been an on and off meditator. And then you came along and through this program, I got back on it and I haven't left since. So there's definitely a little bit that many of us have carried and learned from that program. So thank you so much for, motivating us to to feel healthy and to, kind of do this in a sustainable way so that it becomes a part and parcel of our life. So that is great. And Rewati, switching topics a little bit, you know, as a doctor, as a healthcare worker, we deeply, deeply appreciate just everything that you all do, the nurses, the staff, the emergency people, the first responders, even the janitorial staff that are trying to keep the hallways clean and disinfected and everything. I mean, we're greatly appreciative of all the hard work that you're doing. But I also must imagine that day in and day out, facing these uncertain, very, very stressful, challenging times must have a human toll on you. After all, you all are humans as much as we are, and must feel the same emotions, if not more powerfully, because you're facing it head on, right? Day in and day out. So I want you to talk to us a little bit about what does that human side of healthcare worker look like? Give us some examples and walk us through your day.
So I know everybody says healthcare heroes and all, but we have the same anxiety, same fears as you or anybody else in the community. But the thing is, when you go there and you actually take care of the COVID patients, you are working on a corona unit, I personally did feel empowered. I just felt there was some meaning to it, why I became a doctor. That doesn't mean I was like very strong and I'm like, yeah, marching in, very brave. It was like, yes, oh my God, what if I get this disease? What will happen to my family? So yes, those thoughts do come across all of us. The nurses think about that. The doctors think about that. And it's there in the back of the mind. I won't say that, no, we don't think about it. We are fine. So the thoughts do come, but then you brush aside those thoughts. You get to your duty and you do feel very empowered. But then there are some raw emotional moments also where the first time when I was doing my COVID duty, none of my family members were aware that I was on the COVID duty. I was having COVID positive patients and my mom and dad were like, stay far away, don't go near anybody who is COVID positive. And I couldn't tell them what kind of a duty am I doing. It's just you do your duty, you do the best you can, and you pray for the best for the patients, for the staff, for yourself, and you keep marching forward, baby steps at a time.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, it is very emotional to hear that. And, this is the part that we don't see necessarily on media or on news channels. And yet it is so real, right? It is so real. And I imagine many times people are able to leave work at work and, focus on the home. But these days being what they are, it must be so difficult for you to compartmentalize that and say, oh, I'm not going to think about my patients. I'm back home with my family and this is family time. Does that kind of bleed in sometimes, taking work, taking it home and kind of thinking about it overnight and stuff like that?
Usually I'm able to do the switch on, switch off mode, but for this COVID era, something happened. I mean, there's so much unknown, there's so much anxiety, there's so much of consolation, consoling the patient, consoling the family, consoling the staff, and kind of waving through this whole series of unknown things, unknown territories of what treatment, unknown territories of what's working, what's not working. Will this person make it alive out or not? So all that stress did kind of bleed into, I would say, my 24 hours. I mean, my thoughts were constantly reeling through how is that person doing? Let me check in the middle of the night. If I'm waking up for what I would drink water, I would like quickly log into my cell phone or my iPad or my laptop and check to make sure that the numbers are looking okay. Not that I was doing anything, but it's just, I was hoping that everything will go well. So I couldn't turn myself off for whatever reason.
Yeah, but we're very, very glad because I don't know if all of the viewers know, but you have hosted Fantakshari partnering with Santosh Sharma. This will be the fourth round, I believe, that is coming up shortly here. And or by the time this video airs, probably the fourth round, maybe you're on to your seventh round, who knows? But you find yet with all this going on, Revathy, I just so admire you for, doing this, taking this break from your, hectic, stressful life as a doctor and a healthcare worker, and then carving out this time for a fun fundraiser activity. Antakshari, you're so good at it too. Organizing this game and participating in a community spirit, which is like really, really kudos to you, Revathy, for doing that. We admire that. I bet that must be a good break for you, right? To just kind of switch modes like that.
It was actually, I have to give it to Santosh for considering me. I didn't have trust in myself that I was the right co-host with him, but he had the whole trust in me. Yeah. And I'm thankful to him because in the 4 weeks, the first time when I actually was able to switch off the corona off my mind was the day when our first Fantakshri was going live on internet. And since then, I mean, I look forward to every Saturday to host this with him because that's the time when I'm not thinking about any statistics, numbers, death rates. I'm just enjoying the songs.
That's wonderful. We all need our channel to kind of vent out, but at the same time to switch off and, do something different, which will kind of it's therapeutic for us. So that's wonderful. Revathy, before we close, how can the community partner or help out during these especially during these challenging times? I know there's a lot of good work that is being done out there, but before we leave, what advice would you share with women out there, particularly women, but just in general, who could help at this time?
So like I said yes to you. So if anyone who is listening, even one person is influenced and they come forward, they donate for any kind of cause, whether it's $10, $20 or $50, $100, my job here is well accomplished. And one thing, even though the whole COVID era is very depressing, dark, unprecedented, but what has made me realize is our community, the Indian community has come forth. And it is such a strong community. Everybody is doing hundreds and hundreds of things. I don't even want to list those because the list is so long. And it's so many things, from sending lunches to the needy, to masks, to shields, to raising funds, so many things. I mean, my whole trust and faith in humanity is restored much stronger than it was before this COVID era. And also, I think it's a win-win situation because when you're giving, you are finding a little bit of control. You do not have the control on what Corona is doing out there, how many people are being affected, how many people are dying. The stats are not under your control, but what is under your control is your ability to give. And your ability to give gives you a dopamine surge and a high.
Absolutely.
Where you feel happy and healthy. So go ahead. Give, find the charity of your cause, whatever be your liking, pick a cause and just come forward. And if you think you want to do something but you don't know what, text me. I'll be happy to hook you up with hundreds of organizations who are waiting for you to join them.
Absolutely, Revathy. Thank you. This was watching the way the people are stepping up in the community was my inspiration to even do this sort of an interview series and, make more people aware of what is going on, all the great work that is happening. So I really, really thank you. I know you have a very busy schedule, but thank you so much for taking some time out to talk to us and to talk to other women out there. And I certainly hope that there will be people who would be inspired by your personal story and might be willing to help out in some way. So thank you so much, Revathy. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.